Welcome to People Doing Good for Others, where we celebrate and praise and hold in the light incredible people who are significantly blessing our communities. I'm Gary York, and I'm grateful for this opportunity. I want to thank my sponsors today, Wilkes Communications, RiverStreet Productions, and 100.9 WIFM. Ms. Denna Parsons, the Volunteer Coordinator and Development Specialist at Wilkes Community College. She's been there for 14 years and plays a key role in the success of the Merle Fest. And she's going to share with us today that the significant role that she does play. And good morning to you, Ms. Parsons.
Good morning, Gary.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
What an honor to have you, and you're a native. Tell us a little bit about where'd you live and where'd you go to school and some of those things, if you will.
I am a native here in Wilkes. I was born here, raised here. I went to Wilkes Central as a high school student. My father was in construction, so he was Foster Sturtevant, Foster Rental, J.R. Foster. So I've always been here, outside of a couple years living in Charlotte after college. But I came back because Wilkes County is my home and I love it here.
And if you will, you worked with Lowe's for a while, and then the opportunity, the door opened for you to come with Wilkes Community College. Let's talk about that.
Right. I worked for Lowe's for about 8 years, and that was before the move to Mooresville. So when they started moving to Mooresville, I looked for an opportunity to be with a company that was going to stay here, and of course, Wilkes Community College is not moving, so a job opportunity opened up there, and I applied and got it, and have been there ever since.
You remember the interview?
I do remember the interview.
Will you share that?
The interview with Wilkes Community College was with a panel of, I think it was 7. So it was very intense, a little bit intimidating, but it was great. The people that work there at the college are wonderful. They make you feel very comfortable, and I came back for a second interview and got the job. So, and I worked with several people that I knew and a couple of neighbors that was employed there at the college. So I loved it there. Plan to retire there.
Good. Denna Parsons is my guest today, and we're going to have an incredible experience talking about Merle Fest and other things. So. Starting there 14 years ago, just a little bit about starting that wonderful move to being in a significant leadership role.
When I came to Wilkes Community College, I came as the administrative assistant for financial aid. And that was right during the transition where Alan Winnington was going to retire, and he was over the veterans benefits. So he started training me working with veterans. So for 13 years, I was a veteran certifying official. So I got to work with our veteran students, which are wonderful, and loved working with them. But sometimes I think after so many years, you need a little bit of a change. And the opportunity came open as a volunteer coordinator for Merle Fest. And I had been working with Merle Fest for many years with our community club, the Speedway Road Ruatan. We've handled the entrance tent and the box office.
So you've been an outsider and an insider.
I've been an outsider from the college working with Merle Fest, yes. I helped manage that front end for many years, which is a bear of a job. But it's fun. You're the first face of Merle Fest when people come in, and so we always greet everybody and welcome there, and then we're there when they're leaving. So it's always been a pleasure working for Merle Fest. And when the opportunity came available to actually be on the Merle Fest staff, I was tickled to be able to interview for it and get that position. Let's
go back to veterans, helping those youngsters that I guess what we used to call the GI Bill, the certain benefits. Give us some idea of how things work there in that role.
Well, there's nothing easy when you're working with the government. But these soldiers that serve their time and they earn the benefits of education, they come back and they enroll, and we as a government will pay for their education.
Yes.
So I would certify their benefits. I'd help them apply for their benefits and make sure their classes lined up with their program. And so I got to see them every month. They would come in and bring me their, it was called a timesheet, you know, just to verify they're still full-time or whatever status they were. And, you know, in that role, a lot of opportunities come available to be able to help the veterans. So at that time, we started a veterans club with the college. So I hope that continues. I've only
How'd
been
that
gone.
happen?
Well, we had a lot of veterans that wanted to get involved and wanted to meet each other. You know, when they come and enroll, they don't know the other veterans on campus. So the club sort of brought them together, different branches together. That was interesting. But it was good for them to have that relationship with other veterans on campus, and they could talk about their experiences there, how they're dealing with coming back and intermingling with civilians. And they have a lot of challenges once they come back from being active. So, you know, we try to help them make sure they're successful and see them through their degrees and to come back and feel like they can get back into society and be an asset. So made a lot of good friends, a lot of good contacts. They still come see me. I actually had one this morning come by and visit with me. So I loved that part of my job. I loved it.
It's a very giving role.
Yeah, it sure is. And I miss that part, but moving from the student end of working with the college to the back end of working with the development and with MuralFest, knowing that we are giving back and we are a big asset and a big part of keeping the college running and providing scholarships, and it's a different part, but I'm glad I'm a part of it.
One would need a big servant's heart to be a key in that role. Is that right?
Well, I think so, yeah.
I do too. Denna Parsons is the volunteer coordinator at MuralFest. Who's Allison Phillips?
Allison Phillips is our VP of Institutional Advancement, and she is my direct report. She's great. I mean, she's really great to work with. She has a passion for the college. She wants to see it successful. We're right in the middle of our annual fund drive, so we're trying to get the employees and the staff and faculty excited about giving back, and but she's great to work with. There was a few people on campus that I said of all the people that I'd want to work with, she was definitely in my top 3.
Oh my!
So I was so excited when an opportunity came to be in that department, and she came and talked to me about that position, and I'm just thankful that I got it.
Yeah. Denna Parsons, the volunteer coordinator. Just, if you will, frame that role and just give us some ideas about what goes on there.
Volunteer coordinator. Seems like it would be a simple job. It is far from simple. I remember when I first started, they said, give us a year, do it just like that we've done it. Don't try to change anything, see what works, see what doesn't. And I'm one that when I take on a job or a position, I want to make it mine. I want to change. I want to fix it to where I think that it might work better. So that give me a year, don't change anything, was a challenge to me because I see things that I want to change. But I found out it's a well-oiled machine, and the way that it's always ran is great, and it works. And even when you're questioning it, at the end, it works. So I gave it a year, and without any changes, and there's very few things that we're going to tweak, just tweaking a little bit, but you go from scheduling to meeting people to knowing all the different areas of MuralFest. When I was working up front, that was the extent of knowing what all goes on behind the scenes. When you become the volunteer coordinator, you learn the many, many levels of Merle Fest and all the different areas that have to have people manning it, and it's just sometimes overwhelming.
Tell us the scope of it, how many volunteers we have, and just a little bit of that.
So we had about 1,300 individual volunteers, and that's including our stage crew. I have Melanie that handles the stage crew, and I handle the other individuals, which was about 700. Which is amazing to me, and I was like, where do you put 700 people? We have those positions. We also handle the civic groups that bring in their volunteers. Now those civic groups and food vendors, they're contracted, so we pay them, but they bring in their volunteers. And from all the volunteers with Merle Fest, we have almost, I think it's 4,300. 4,300 volunteers. They put in over 49,000 hours over the 4 days. It's amazing. It's amazing when you put it down on paper on the people that come that want to help and want to work and want to be a part of it. So it's exciting.
Denna, tell us about the nonprofit clubs. This will be the #1 fundraiser for the year for them.
Right.
And they come in and provide these services and they're compensated. A little bit about the wonderment of those people, those heart and soul community advocates all around that come in
right.
and have this great expectation.
And it's just like with the club that I was involved with, which I still am a Ruatan member. But we have 42 organizations that come in from the community that range from food vendors to they run our gift shops, to our entrance tent, to the merchandise tent, to the autograph tent.
Autograph tent, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, we have an autograph tent.
What's there?
Well, Dan Day he runs that autograph tent, and that's where we have scheduled the artists that will come.
Do you
And
really?
it's really neat. It's right outside the caboose, and he puts up a schedule on who's going to be there at what times, and he manages that crowd and manages the artists that come, and he's great. He's been doing it for years. But we were able this year to give over $500,000 to our civic groups in the county through Merle Fest. So that is the huge way that we give back to the community. And you don't know that. I mean, people don't know how much that goes back to our community through Merle Fest. It's such a huge asset to our county, and we're very fortunate to have it. And being a part of the staff, your eyes are really opened up to what all we do and how we give back, not only to our college, but to the community.
First time I met Ted Hageman, he made a statement about we're changing lives, and it really didn't stick with me, but the more that I have the opportunity to share with people like you and Tabitha Hudler and Steve Johnson and Allison, I'm getting the feel of it, about this is why we do what we do. Talk about that. Ted Hageman keeps you on task with this is why we're here.
Absolutely.
We
are. I truly feel we're changing lives. With Merle Fest, we gave out this year over $12,000 to our students, to our student clubs, to scholarships. We also, not only with the money that we give them to our clubs to help them, but the experience of volunteering, of learning to give back. And, that's a trait that I think generations coming up are losing, that giving back to your community. So we're teaching them that. And I'm hoping to this year be able to go into the classrooms and talk to the students that are not involved with clubs and talk them into coming and volunteering and giving back to their college and giving back to not just the college but their community. So I'm hoping that this year we can pull in more students. I don't want to say more faculty and staff because we're almost all involved one way or the other, but get them excited about volunteering and being a part, not just coming and enjoying, which that's all fun, but being a part and giving back.
Denna Parsons, who's the Mona McCrae?
Mona, I say, is my Robin to my Batman outfit. I could not do this job without her. She is amazing. She comes in about November each year, and she starts working on our notebooks. And our notebooks, we put together a notebook of all the information that could possibly be needed or come up for every group that we have. So they will have that information with them through the whole festival. If they have any questions, any situation, they can look in that notebook and there it is. We got schedules in there. We have volunteer schedules in there. She starts in November. She works through May. I could not do it without her. She started years ago as a volunteer. Then she became the volunteer coordinator. And I don't know how many years that she was the volunteer coordinator, but when she decided to retire, she still comes back. And she's been doing it for years. Every volunteer coordinator that's had the position after her, she comes back and she helps. She's amazing. She's one of many that come in before the festival and help me do my job. I could not do it without her. It's not a one-man job. You can't do it by yourself. So I'm very, very fortunate to have the ladies that come in and help me with scheduling and help me. You know, Mona's the queen of the notebooks, which you can say no. It's just such
This is an operations manual. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it really is.
Right.
I've got Diane Eldridge. She comes in and she does grounds. We have many volunteers that come in January and start working on the grounds for Merle Fest. She spends hours upon hours scheduling and working with the college to make sure we have enough volunteers on campus to clean that big campus grounds to get prepared. So those two they'd be hard to replace.
You mentioned October 1st and also about calling 700 in my notes here.
Yeah.
Will you share with that or elaborate a little bit?
So October 1st is our first day that we put the application live, our volunteer application. Last year, was our 30th anniversary, so we had a large lineup. So I think I had about 150 that first night that applied, which blew me out of the water. I was not expecting that many that first day. I'm hoping for that many this year. But that's when our application goes live. That's when everything starts ramping up.
So if I want to be a volunteer at October 1st, I can submit my name?
You submit your application.
Okay.
And then we start scheduling. We start looking at our books and seeing where we can put you. Those volunteers that schedule early, October, November, most likely they get exactly what they want.
Now that group is the 1,300 group, is that right?
That's the 700 group.
700 group.
The 1,300, it includes our grounds also and our stage crew.
Okay.
The grounds people work before the festival. They will do applications also, but they're not actually scheduled during the festival. They get all their work done before the festival. What we decided to do this year, and this was one thing that I did change, and they were okay with it. And it was just because I was nervous about the application we schedule, and we send out correspondence, we send them an email. But I just wanted to verify that they got that email and they were coming. So I looked at Mona and I said, what if we just call them? She said, call all of them? Well, yeah. Let's just call them. We have a phone number. Let's call them. Let's tell them that we're excited that they're going to come work for us and verify that they have our information, they have their schedule. And we had a lot of people very impressed that we done that.
I bet.
And they were excited to come, and they had it on their calendar, and they were coming. So that was a good thing that we done. And
so everybody wins.
Everybody
You
wins.
know for sure, and they know, and the connection starts.
Yeah, we had about 3 or 4 ladies. They would spend the day just calling numbers, just talking to people. It was really cool. It was a good thing. It was a good thing to do, and we'll do that this year too. Just that extra communication with them. We want our volunteers to feel special, and we want them to feel like they're part of our Merle Fest family.
Well, you say it's the key to success. The
Yes.
volunteer. It would not happen without them.
Merle Fest could not happen without our volunteers. Could not. I mean, could you imagine 50,000 hours paying people to do that? It would take away from what we can give.
I think it's a good time for you to share with us the compensation that the volunteer, what is in return for giving, he or she would get what?
Yeah. Well, with a 4-hour shift of volunteering, you get the ticket to come in for that day for the festival. So you work 4 hours and you get to spend the rest of the day there and enjoy the festival. To me, that's a good benefit, and a lot of the volunteers come because they want to be able to be at the festival, and they're willing to work for those tickets. But it's really the experience. It's the people they meet, the friendships they make. We've got the RV campground has got a group of people that have been coming every year, and they're from all over. But they have that they have that connection, they have that friendship, and they come to hang out. They want to see their friends that they hadn't seen all year long.
That's the town of Wilkesboro's campground down on the, is that it?
That's our RV campground on
Okay.
campus.
Okay.
Yeah.
On campus.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's up on the upper end of our lot. So it's the experience, it's the friendship that's built, it's the giving back, and the ticket in is a bonus.
Right.
It's a bonus.
Denna Parsons, tell us of the scope of these folks come from all over the world.
Oh, they come
just
from
give us
all
some
over the
idea
world.
About the volunteer.
Last year I had volunteers from Australia, from France, from Canada, from Wales. Amazing. I was blown away. I had no idea. The man that came from Australia, he ran into some bad luck here, but what a spirit of giving that he had. He wanted to work. Him and his wife had been to Merle Fest before, and he wanted to come back as a volunteer. And he had made a friend from another state, and I want to say his friend was from Pennsylvania, and that may be wrong, but he was from up north, and he met him, and they came to volunteer. He was here. He got here Wednesday, and unfortunately Friday afternoon he collapsed. They thought his blood pressure had fallen, and they took him over to the ER to check him out. He ended up going to Baptist, and he was more upset that he was missing the Merle Fest and missing his opportunity to work. I called him that night when he got admitted and talked to him a little bit, and I talked to him Saturday. They actually had to transport him to Baptist. I talked to him. He don't remember talking to me then, and what Baptist had determined is that he had just fallen ill, and they needed to get him back to Australia. And it turned out that he's got a brain tumor, but he's being treated. He still has a connection with all of us. He still emails. His wife still emails us and gives us an update. He wants to come back to Merle Fest. He talked to everyone that he came in contact with in the hospitals and talked about how he wanted to be a part of Merle Fest. And he was so upset that he didn't get to finish his obligation of working and volunteering. And I told him we would still be here, and I was looking forward to seeing him come back. But the connections he made here, he now feels like he has a home in Wilkes.
Sure.
Mona and I and her husband Jim, we went to Winston and visited him, and he said that he was blown away that we even showed up. But we care, we care about our volunteers, and we want to be there for them. And when something like that happens, of course we're going to go visit, and of course we're going to check to see if they're okay. But that's the kind of people
That's
that,
who you are.
yeah, well, that's who we are.
That's who we are.
But that's the kind of people that we draw also.
Yeah.
Our
And
volunteers are giving also.
What you give, you get.
Absolutely.
You give goodness out to those people, you get good people to come back. And you do background checks, right?
We do background checks, and that's I think that's one thing that's special about Merle Fest is that our volunteers are they're selected by us. We do background checks on them.
You need to be 18.
You have to be 18 years old to work. We don't accept walk-ups to volunteer because we want to guarantee that we have the right people in the right jobs. And that says a lot about a festival as large as ours, that we take the time to make sure we've got the right people in the right jobs.
One of the points that I shall cherish as I get to learn and experience more, Ted talked about when the bell rings, you can't go back and do the work. We have to be ready when it rings on Thursday.
Right.
And then by noon on Friday, most of the challenges will just go away. And from there, from Friday to Sunday afternoon, it's virtually on autopilot. Well, maybe not quite that, but I just am so impressed with the organization that you, I'm just amazed. Like you said, the Merle Fest is overwhelming. As I get to know what's going on in the background, I'm overwhelmed.
It can be, and that was one of the things they told me with my first year too. Make it through the first day, and by noon Friday it sort of runs itself.
And you only have 2 or 3 no-shows out of 700.
Oh yeah, we have very, very few no-shows.
Right.
And most of the time after the festival's over, we find out what had happened, and it's not that they just didn't want to show up, something come up. But it does, and I go back to the fact how it runs so smooth is because of the volunteers that we have, the level of the quality of people that want to come and be a part. They come back every year.
Right.
I had, I think, 143 new people this year out of all the 1,300. So that tells you that all the people that come, they want to come back, they want to be a part of it. So they know what they're doing. We set them up, we put them in the position they want to be in, and they have a blast doing it.
Dana, you've told me that we're doing 3 things. We have a significant economic impact. We have a region impact, and the lives of those who volunteer, their lives are better because of the experience. Will you just kind of fill in the blanks right there for me as we come close to the end?
I think that it is it can be a life-changing thing because you're giving back to something that makes
a scholarship
that makes a
for a
difference.
youngster who has limited means.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's what we need to focus on is what's happening with Merle Fest. It's fun. You're making a lot of friends. Well, you're making lifetime friends, but you're also building scholarship funds. You're giving back to those college clubs that need the funds, that are learning life experiences. We are changing lives. And I'm happy to be a part of that too.
Wow, I can tell. Ms. Parsons, I want to thank again you for being here, and for Wilkes Communications and RiverStreet Productions and WIFM. Kind of wind us to the end with your life has been enhanced, or is, with this opportunity, and you're grateful for it.
Oh, absolutely, I am. I'm so thankful to be able to be a part of this, not just the festival, but being a part of Wilkes Community College. That is such a huge part of Wilkes County. I'm always proud to say that I work with Wilkes Community College, and I work with Merle Fest. And I appreciate you inviting me to talk to people about volunteering. And let's don't forget, applications do open up October 1st.
And the essence of the volunteer is that specialness is beyond description, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
Thank you for blessing us, Ms. Denna Parsons. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Come again.